This is some leg training for surfers and why you, if you're kind of a weekend warrior, intermediate surfer, why you should know how to squat. I'm Chris Mills with surfstrengthcoach.com, squatting and the relevance to surfing because motor patterns are lunging and squatting and rotations and force absorption and why you should know how to squat. If you dig this stuff, follow me, subscribe on YouTube, check me out on Instagram, the website, all the good stuff. I just recently saw a video of the man, Jordy Smith, doing some good training. And he's talking about how, as surfers, we do a lot of this, not a lot of slow-weighted squats. I agree with him at about 50-50. And it's giving people the impression that we as surfers don't need smart strength training. So I want to give you some insight and then show you some good leg training. One of the fundamental motor patterns of surfing is squatting, plus lunging, and we're compressing and extending and putting in rotation. But a fundamental pattern is this squat position. And getting strong in that pattern carries over to our ability to produce force, to absorb force, to have a strong and capable lower body, to be able to support our knee structures, to be able to force, produce, absorb. But it's not to say that we don't need good quality strength training. We need mobility, flexibility, speed, power. Jordy Smith is in the 0.001% of surfers. He is highly strong, highly powerful. He needs probably a lot of flexibility, mobility, joint health. He's already strong, he's already fast. Average desk worker, you're weak, you don't know how to squat properly, your ankles are too tight, you don't know how to load a hip to then explode out of a hip. That's why most average people will benefit from some good quality strength training to build a base so we can get more dynamic. Check out the link, I'll put it up here or down below, getting into motor profiles of sports and how we're building a foundation to work on the skill of surfing. So it's a bit of a rant. We all need heaps of flexibility where we're working on squat patterns and dynamic movement. We need to start putting ourselves into groups. Jordy Smith needs different things as a surfer than you, but it's going towards the same thing of dynamic movement and mobility and strength and power production. So let's get into some training you can do for your legs. And yes, it even incorporates some good solid squatting. Starting with some dynamic hip mobility and control. A lot of people have problems even getting into a basic 90-90. So this could be a lot of steps ahead of where a lot of people start. We then get even more dynamic where we're doing a lot of glute activation, hip control, hip stability, as well as mobility and flexibility. And we can start getting dynamic with that squat pattern. Can your ankles be here? Can your hips be here? What about the knees? So we're starting to incorporate that squat pattern into more flow-based activities after we've started to already loosen up those individual joints that might be tight. Froggers, reverse froggers, all sorts of things moving the hip, ankle, knee. Rotational squats. Can you do a basic ass to grass bodyweight squat first? That might prep you to get more dynamic here where we're adding a lot of rotation to ankle, hip, knee. Then we start loading and exploding. How much of surfing is force production and force absorption? Squatting first starts to lay a foundation. Then we can get dynamic with single leg squats where we're really highlighting imbalances of the lower body. There's huge amounts of balance work here, strength and control out of the hip. This is a great drill for all surfers. And then the good old squat. Power production, joint control, full range of motion at my ankle, knee, and hip. See how this can reinforce proper mechanics and lay a foundation of strength and control for you to start getting more dynamic. Proper squatting also reinforces mobility and flexibility. And let's get power. Rotational power driven. I'm loading that right hip, exploding out, adding in rotational torque through the upper body. Tell me that wouldn't carry over to surfing. Then we finish up. Get the hamstrings going. Single leg, hip extension, hamstring curl. This is a powerhouse for knee prehab. If you want to see the formats of orchestrating all of this into a follow-along program, getting into mobility, strength, power, speed development, single leg work, check out my Ocean Sports Performance program. It's got all the goods to help you train so it carries over to your time in the water, health, longevity, durability, ultimately your surfing. Do you see how efficiently some quality squatting fits into an overall lower body training program for surfers? It's a crux. That strength and control allows for a buffer to move into a lot higher performance movements. Mobility, flexibility, strength, speed, power. It's not one singular aspect. You as a surf athlete need to figure out what your biggest limitation is, but understand that quality strength training, it doesn't need to be slow and cumbersome and hypertrophy muscled up reps. You can move dynamically and quickly and powerfully, but also work on mobility and control and speed. If you dig it, show some love, like it, subscribe it, head to the website, surfstrengthcoach.com. Follow me on social media, give us a shout, train